So, I've been watching the recent debates going on between the low-carb community and the calories in, calories out side of the paleo community. It seems that many people are just believing the arguments that are presented to them without actually looking into what is posed by each party. So, about fat people presenting the low-carb insulin / leptin resistance argument. I've seen this come up numerous times in defense of calories in, calories out, and in an attempt to disprove Taubes' theory. This only proves anything if we believe that the human body cannot be irreparably damaged, which for a fact we know that it can. For example, there's a birth control method in which a foreign object is inserted into the female reproductive system, and it halts the flow, and after a while, it causes the woman to permanently lose reproductive capacity. And if you think of excessive sugar as a foreign substance, which, according to Robert Lustig's lectures, it was before the agricultural revolution, then this is definitely possible. So they bring up guys like Jimmy Moore, the typical token evidence of this argument. But first, have you even seen his before and after photos? He lost nearly 200 pounds. Alright, so about Guyenet's straw man argument. I'm going to cover this as briefly as possible, as it's already been covered very well by Dr. Andreas Einfeld on the Diet Doctor website, which I definitely recommend checking out for the full story. I have no question that Stephan Guyenet is an intelligent guy. What I do have a question about, however, is why he would present a rebuttal that hinges on his followers not having read what he's responding to. The entire crux of his argument is that Taubes believes that all carbohydrates will eventually lead to obesity. It's just not true. In his books, in his lectures, I've heard him say it himself, what Taubes believes isn't that. What it is that with obesity you will always find carbohydrates, and sugar is the most likely culprit to be the catalyst that starts the whole thing. Hell, Taubes' speech from the AHS was even called the case against sugar. I believe he refers to what he calls the Japan paradox, which explains that the lack of sugar in the Japanese diet is what causes them to remain thin. However, Japan and China both have had an influx of diabetes in recent history that has come with a relatively recent prosperity. So basically, Guyenet has changed Taubes' argument in order to disprove that very argument. He says that by finding populations who eat carbohydrates and don't get fat, he has disproved Taubes. In order to effectively disprove Taubes, he would have had to find a population that got significantly obese with very little carbohydrates in their diet. So either he didn't read any of Taubes' work and just cherry-picked from phrases in the preface of the book that match what he thinks that Taubes believes, or he gives us very little credit as people who can think for themselves. Guyenet's portrayal of Taubes is like America's portrayal of Dr. Atkins' diet, which they typically refer to as the bacon diet. And both of those are just inaccurate.